So we are back doing one last alteration on this knit dress. This is going to show you different ways that you can taper a dress in on the sides. This is the underarm seam, and this is down to the bottom hem. Bottom hem is down here at the base. So when you're fitting for tapering in the sides of a knit dress or any article of clothing, with knits you have to be a little careful because it will stretch while you're pinning it. You want to make sure that it doesn't do that. And there are different ways that you can pin it. You can do like other alterations, like when using the darts, making tailor tacks where the seam is going to go and then match up on the opposite side, on the wrong side. Or there's this way, you can pin it where the seam is where you want it to go, where the pins enter the material. So you could take a marking pen and mark right down from pin to pin the way it's falling while it's still on the person is the easiest way to do it. Or if they don't have the time for you to do that, or if you don't have the marking pencil, you put the pins where you want them to be. I suggest you just have them butt up to each other, like right next to each other, like where one ends, another one starts, so you can continue that line on. Then once you do that, and you're not using tailor tacks, and you're not using a marking pen, go to the opposite side, and where that pin came out, it's a lot of pinning, but it'll get great results. Pin the other side right in line with the one on the opposite. So you'll have a pin here on this spot and a pin on the other side in that same spot. It can be kind of tricky, so what you can do is you can take your other hand, take one hand, put it inside, and kind of, so that way you're only catching one layer of fabric, and then put the pin in that one layer there. And then I can put this one back where it was. So it will look like this when you go to turn it wrong side out. So I don't know if you can see, because this is a really bright, there's one pin here, a blue one. I'm gonna push it down into the white so you can actually see where it is. I should have used white pins. But there you can see the white pin on this side, the blue one's on the other side. So then what I would do is turn it inside out and match these two pins up together. I can do it while it's this way. Flip it inside out, and while you're holding it in place, take your hand, go back to the right side, and pull one of those pins out so you can mark where that seam line is going to be. Now, the important thing about tapering in the sides on any dress like this, or any top, as a matter of fact, you want to follow the, I'm going to take this pin out just to show you where to start. Your very first pin, I'm at the bottom, I should be at the top. I need to be at the top. And so there's my pins. Where's my arm hole? I'm going to turn this dress completely inside out. Okay. So you want to follow your seam. Now the seam on a dress side panel starts at the underarm, and it does this slight little curve. There's a slight curve, like right here. So that top of that curve is where you want to start your seam. It's approximately 3 inches down from where a sleeve would be. From the armhole to the beginning of that curve is about 3 inches, and that's where you want your top pin to be. And then however you had it pinned on the outside, you're going to go down and line them up. I'm going to go ahead and do these. Just stick my hand underneath there. And I already have one one of them in place. Take this one out because that one, come here, is right there. And I've got it pinched where I want it to go. And then what you're going to do is you're basically going to go this way. You're going to do, again, it's like almost like a crescent moon kind of seam, because that way it follows the hip line and then it comes straight down. It will take some of the fullness out of the bottom of this, but these knit dresses are very flowing and very full at the bottom. So I'm going to do the rest of these pins, and then we'll stitch the seam. Goes this way. Taking that one out because I've already got it pinned. And this one is, this only came out or down the whole side about, the biggest space of it was about 1 inch. So that's my go-to measurement, is 1 inch out from the original seam. So come on, get in there. Because I want to do it right here. I've been doing this so long I can eyeball 1 inch. I can eyeball 3/4 of an inch. And people think it's kind of weird, but just because I've been doing this for a very long time. Okay. So when you are tapering in, you want to start the top of your taper about 3 inches down from the armhole, and you're going to slowly taper it out to where you needed it taken in the most, which is going to be right about the waistline for this one. But then you're going to keep that same inch until you get about mid-knee, and then you're going to taper it back down to the hem where the hem begins, unless you want to taper it all the way down. You can take the hem out and restitch it, unless you're using a stretch stitch to do that. That can be kind of tedious, but this actually works fine without having to take the hem out. So I'm going to finish putting these pins in to mimic that 1 inch, because here's where it curves in, that's the natural waistline. So that's where I want it to have that 1 inch, is like right above the hip bone, and go all the way down to this hem and just slowly come back in to keep that bell shape. This is the bell shape is better known as an A-line design, and everybody looks good in an A-line. Doesn't matter what shape you are, you will look awesome in an A-line dress. That is a fact. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but it's true. So, do that. And check on the other side. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go ahead and stitch this. Move this for this way. I'll put my machine over here. And start at the top and work my way down. I put the pins on the wrong side. I'm left-handed, so I tend to do that sometimes. You know, I'm getting ready to film and I'm doing them right-handed, and I go, whoops. It's supposed to be the other way. I mean, I could stitch it like this. It just looks weird for you all to see it with the needles upside, or the pins upside down. I'm going to flip them around. Put them back in place. So wonder if I can do the, I don't know if I can get you all to see with the magnifying glass or not, but we're going to try it anyway. Sometimes I think it's kind of cool that that actually works. And we'll see if we can get it positioned right. Let's see, there's the needle. And let's get a little closer this way. Ta-da! It's kind of out of focus, isn't it? Let's see if I can get it better. Let's see, where's my fingers in here? Nope, can't see that. I think because I need to move the camera just a little bit. That might help. And then let's see what this says. Nope, I guess you can see it best that way. Anyway, here's where, from under the armpit, I tried. Nobody's perfect. And I'm going to do it gradually. Because I'm tangled up here. There we go. And you always want to make sure that this is flat the whole time you're sewing it, because sometimes it will bunch up this knit material. And you do just a couple of stitches to start, and back it up. And now see how the needle or the pin is shimmying with the stretch? And that's when I take the pins out. So otherwise it will stitch that lump right there. It'll stitch it right into the dress, and you don't want that. So you put your needle down, back down, lift the foot, take the pin out, put it back down, and then go to the next pin and then take it out. That's the safest way to deal with stretch knits when you're tapering something in. I'm just making sure it's still flat. And just as that pin gets there, I'm going to take that out. And you want to adjust the fabric because you don't want it to like really stretch out that seam out of whack. And it will do it if you're not careful. So here I'm at my 1 inch mark. That needed to be taken in. Take that one out. So right now I'm about halfway, and that's when you want to start just slowly coming back out. This will be the knee area. And I'm just leading it on down there. See, that one didn't move, so it must be positioned in the fabric pretty good. But you have it a little bit off center, and it will twist on you. And we don't need that. Okay, this one goes there. Okay. Because it likes to bunch up back there. See, that pin was in there right. You can always tell when a pin's in the right place in the fibers because it doesn't budge. Now see that one? See how it's bunching up? I don't know if y'all can see. Let me see if I can get you down there so you can see what I'm talking about. There, let's take this way. Can you see how the pin is like pushing the fabric and it's making this bunched up look? If I kept stitching, this little ridge here would end up being sewn into the material, and you don't want that little ridge in there. Okay, so I'm going to take that one out, that back down. That one's doing it again. I'll put the needle back in, press your foot up, pull that pin out. You don't want it to be bunching up any of this knit fabric underneath there. And slowly getting it more narrow, more narrow, more narrow, to where you're basically almost parallel. And then you stitch over the top of the previous stitching. And the reason why you do it that way is so that at the bottom you don't have a pucker, because it'll, if you forget, it'll pucker it. And what I mean by pucker is it leaves a little bulge. Okay, so there's the seam from the armpit down, got to my 1 inch width, about halfway through. You need to come up out of there because all this little thread got stuck on the foot. Oh, for there, you silly thing. Well, I ran my stitches over the presser foot. Okay, you want to let go now? You want to let go now? It's wrapped around it. I know how to fix that. Put it down and then slide it up. It's got to go around the, there's like this little toe in there. Come on, guys. There we go. Almost got it. Ta-da. There. Oh, and then I got on the other one. Figure. There we go. Anyway. So you go down to your 1 inch, and then you get down to 3/4 of an inch, and you keep going down to 1/2 inch, and you keep going, and you keep going, and then you get down to the very bottom, and it's really narrow, and you come right down to the hem. And that's where you want to end up. I'm going to go and snip this thread off the top, excess thread. Push this out of the way. And then we're going to turn this right side out. Just like so. Okay. Now what you want to check for after you've done that is any kind of puckering kind of stuff. You want to look at it, you want to hold it up. Of course I can't hold it up to do it this way, but this is the underarm seam and this is the seam I just did, and you want to hold it from the bottom about 3/4 of the way down, and you want to make sure that it kind of just holds its shape. See how it just holds its shape all the way? There's no ripples in it or anything. That is a good seam. Now, yes, there is extra fabric on the inside. Whenever I do alterations, I don't cut any material away. I know it's not considered a done, basically a completed alteration until you do that. However, us ladies do fluctuate in our weight a lot. Having an extra little 1/2 inch on either side in here is not going to be, noticeable when it's being worn. If the person that wears this thinks it's too noticeable, yeah, I'll cut it out of there and I'll serge the edges just like that were already done. So what I will do is trim it down to about 5/8 of an inch and then stitch it. Now if you notice, when this was made in the factory or manufacturers or whatever, they only gave this dress literally a 1/4 inch, barely, actually it's 3/8 of an inch seam. So if this lady had wanted to let this out, there's nothing to let out. So now that I'm taking it in, if she should for some reason, have some weight gain come across her path and she still wants to wear this dress, I've kept that extra fabric inside. I've kept this extra bit right here so that I can let it back out to the original seam if need be. that's the great thing that, you know, when you're dealing with, especially knits, because they're so light, and you really don't have to worry about if you have a fatter seam inside, unless, like I said, the person that wears it is, you know, conscious of it. So there you have, all completely altered. I've got the side seams tapered in, and the two lovely darts in the back. There's one, and there's one. Remember, with the darts in the back, you start at the bottom of the shoulder blade, and then you go down to just above the natural waistline so that the dress flows properly. I hope this has been a helpful video for y'all, and that if you're into this and learning how to, you know, make your clothes to fit yourself more, please let me know how it turned out, and if you have any questions, please do leave so in the comments. Thank you for watching, and you have a blessed day.